Chapter 2. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they execute it, because it is in the power of their hand. And they covet fields, and seize them, and houses, and take them away. Thus they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, Behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which you shall not remove your necks, neither shall you walk upright, for it shall be an evil time. And in that day shall they take up a parable against you, and lament with a doleful lamentation, and say, We are utterly ruined. He changeth the portion of my people. How doth he remove it from me? Instead of restoring our fields, he divideth them. Therefore you shall have none that shall cast the line by lot in the congregation of the Lord. Preach you not, they preach. They shall not preach of these things, that they shall not take shame. Do I change, O house of Jacob? Is the Spirit of the Lord straitened? Are these his doings? Do not my words do good to him that walketh uprightly? But of late my people is risen up as an enemy. With the garment you strip also the mantle from them that pass by securely, so that they are as men returning from war. The women of my people you cast out from the pleasant houses, and from their young children you take away my glory forever. Arise you and depart, for this is not your resting place. Because of the uncleanness thereof it shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction. If a man walking in wind and falsehood do lie, I will preach unto you of wine and strong drink. He shall even be the preacher of this people. I will surely assemble, O Jacob, all of you. I will surely gather the remnant of Israel. I will render them all as sheep in a fold, as a flock in the midst of their pasture. They shall make great noise by reason of the multitude of men. The breaker is gone up before them. They have broken forth and passed on by the gate, and are gone out thereat. And their king is passed on before them, and the Lord at the head of them. All right, let's go back up to verse 1. Micah is prophesying, and Micah is prophesying against those that have exalted themselves now, even exalted themselves against God. God's going to make an example, see, and God has, the prophecies are already written of this example that's going to be made. There had to be a way to wake the people up, so God sought to do this marvelous work, even telling us of the prophecies long before he ever started, how he was going to build and what he was going to build and how he was going to build it and what he was going to do to it in the end of it, so that he could make known that he is God. He is the one that brought you up out of Egypt, and this is for the whole house of Israel. Now the whole house of Israel have been scattered at this time in all the nations of the world, just like the book says they have, and they have been made to forget. Most of them, as we're going to find out, is even their heritage has been stripped away. They've been caused to even forget that. And we're going to pick it up with this in verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they execute it, because it is in the power of their hand. So woe now, because trouble's coming. This is trouble coming. A warning's coming. Woe to you that devise this sin, that devise this iniquity, this work of nothing, that work evil upon your beds. You're laying in bed. This is the bed you've made for yourself, this place that you have acquired, and you lay there. And in your thoughts, devise evil and wickedness now, even against the people. And when the morning is light, they execute it, because it is the power of their hand. And now we're speaking to those rulers. These are those that have set up, they have taken this position, and we're going to find out they have distorted their position, because why? God's going to make an example now, even of the end time, of this authority by which they rule, to And they covet fields, and seize them, and houses, and take them away, and thus they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. And this is what they do. But these fields we're talking about, these fields of where they would plant their crops, looking for harvest, see, they seize these up, and the houses, these places, even the whole family thereof, and take them away. For their own good, for their own gain, do they do these things. This is how they oppress a man and his house, by carrying him off, even a man and his heritage. And this is to cause, when you're caused to forget even that, where you come from, you have no understanding of your heritage. Even in a nation where the heritage is meant to be taken off because you become one people. And this is another story. Verse 3, Therefore thus saith the Lord, Behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which you shall not remove your necks, neither shall you walk upright, for it shall be an evil time. So God's telling you now, I've devised an evil, not a good. See, I've devised an evil. God, I told you now, God laid a little snare, and he threw a bait in it, just like you do. See, God has made a snare. You ain't going to get out of it. Why? You'll refuse to understand, because this way you can be a witness now. But God, it's an evil time, and so it is. It witnesseth for itself. See, and we're going to find out, heaven and earth, God even stood up. He said, now let the Lord witness against you. This was the last chapter yesterday. See, God witnessed against you. For in that day shall they take up a parable against you, and lament with a doleful lamentation, and say, We are utterly ruined. He changeth the portion of my people. How does he remove it from me? Instead of restoring our fields, he divides them. How has God done this? See, how has God worked this work? How has he done it? See, well, we're going to find out in the end now. He has come to restore his servant, redeem his servant, through the law of God, which he gave. Therefore you shall have none that shall cast the line by lot in congregation of the Lord. There is none to cast the line by the lot. See? And then what this is in the old days, in the days of old, the congregation would come together and they would pass by now, tribe by tribe, family by family, and their lot would be cast, saying before the Lord. And God would choose one now by the tribe. He would choose the tribe. Then he would choose out of the tribe the family. Then out of the family the seed. And there we would find whatever the Lord was looking for. See now, but where has it gone? 6. Preach you not, they preach. They shall not preach of these things, that they shall not take shame. No, these things that of what's coming, these things of this news, they ain't going to have nothing to say about this. Why? They don't want to take shame. No one wants to bear their shame. But it's part of it. 7. Do I change, O house of Jacob? Is the Spirit of the Lord straitened? Are these his doings? Do not my words do good to him that walketh uprightly? This house of Jacob, Israel. Is the Spirit of the Lord shortened, straitened? We could look at it that way. That's another way we could look at that word. Straightened. Was it crooked that it had to be straightened? Was it shortened that it had to be stretched out? No, it was not. It was complete in its understanding from the beginning, from the moment it began. We didn't need to add to it. See, and we're going to find out God's going to use this as an example. He's rolling this up. He's going to make the epiphany, and he's causing men now to work the work, and they're going to form it up. They've been forming it up. They're creating this, and they're making an image. 8. But of late my people has risen up as an enemy. With the garment you strip also the mantle from them that pass by securely, so they are as men returning from war. This but late, now, here recently, my people has risen up as an enemy. And because the earth now is becoming a great example to God. You have made known now your sin, and it's public. The stench has gone up. We see it. It's easy to see. Everybody's getting tired of looking at it. But of late now, as an enemy, and you've made yourself as an enemy. Why? Because you sin. You turn against God. You go against the law of God. From the beginning, he sought to make an example. With the garment you strip also the mantle from them that pass by securely. And this mantle is this covering, even, that God gave them. This is the mantle God gave them to cover their nakedness. The law, they pass by securely. Not looking for you, but you've laid in wait, looking for them. Set your trap there on every corner. And this is the garment you use to strip also the mantle. And this garment, let's just change this word garment to robe, like a kingly, majestic robe. See, that's what you've done. You've used the power of the throne now against the people. And you stripped them down like men returning from war, like those that are taking off their armor that shall not make war no more. See, like those that are taking off their armor, because that's basically what you're doing. Because the law of God is your armor. And when you pick it up, it becomes your shield. Shield in your left hand becomes your sword now, even in your right hand. It's like a two-edged sword. The salvation from the law of God becomes your helmet. And you're putting that on. See, this is how the soldier does dress for battle. But they have stripped him down. 9. The woman of my people you cast out from their pleasant houses. From their young children you take away my glory forever. From the women of my people. These women, or those women, means comes from man. And it's that understanding that comes from man, even that which God gave him to be his helpmate, even the law of God itself. You've cast them out of their pleasant houses. This is where God set them. And their young children you take away my glory forever. And this is because you don't teach the next generation the law and the understanding of it and everything that goes with it. Because God has taken it now from you, like he said he was going to do. Caused your prophets to err. They become lying prophets. They prevail. 10. Rise you and depart, for this is not your resting place. Because of the uncleanness thereof it shall destroy you, even with the sore destruction. God says, get up out here, because this ain't your place to rest. Those that have done this wickedness now. See? Because of your uncleanness thereof, it's going to destroy you. It's going to be made known. That was what we've been talking about. God's going to make it known. And then those are going to rise up suddenly, see. Even with the sore destruction. 11. If a man walking in wind and falsehood do lie. Yeah, let's make an example of this guy. Walking around and running his mouth in the wind and in falsehood. And he's lying. I will preach unto you wine and strong drink. This is what he says. Let me preach unto you wine and strong drink. Put it to your lips. He shall even be the preacher of this people. Why, they'll listen to anybody. They will listen to anybody. And it's just another example, God says. But, this has a higher understanding. And that understanding is simple. Let me give you something sweet. Let me make you drunk on ignorance. Let me show you now the calf, or lift up something now, an idol even. See, this is where men do err in their ignorance. They're made drunk themselves, and they offer up the cup. 12. I will surely assemble, O Jacob, all of you. I will surely gather the remnant of Israel. I will render them all as sheep in the fold, and as a flock in the midst of their pasture. They shall make great noise by reason of the multitude of men. God has made another example. 12 is understanding. Let's have understanding. I will surely assemble, O Jacob, Israel, all of you. I will surely gather the remnant of Israel. I will render them all as sheep in a fold, as flock in the midst of their pasture. God's going to render them all as sheep. He's going to liken them unto all as sheep in a fold, in a flock, in the midst of their pasture. And there shall be great noise by reason of the multitude of men. And this multitude of men are these sheep in the fold, in the flock, that's in the midst of the pasture, see? And this is those that have gone astray. This is the great flock of God, and we're going to find out, see, from the beginning now, God has even been going to add to, now, even this first harvest. God's done this. It's God who's worked all this. And we're going to find out, see, God is going to make them all like sheep. He says that even with one shepherd. We're going to learn this as the prophets go. We're going to learn this as the prophets go, but don't get in a hurry now and run off, because, see, God's got a purpose here. 13. The breaker is gone up before them. They have broken forth and passed on by the gate, and are gone out thereat, and their king is passed on before them, and the Lord at the head of them. And this is what's happened. Their breaker is gone up before them. What is this breaker? That which is going to mash it in pieces. This is that which is the example. They have broken forth and passed on by the gate. And this gate was the gate of judgment. This gate was the gate where God sat. And they've broken out of there. They've broken forth and they've passed on. There at the gate. Now they have transgressed, just as we've been talking about, and are gone out thereat. And they have left now the city, even the city of God's understanding. And their king is passed on before them. And that's who's leading them out the way. And the Lord at the head of them. For it is God now that's done this. But we're going to find out this great example of God. We're not done. God has caused you now to be led out of the city. And we're going to find out this is where they did transgress. This was the place of transgression here when they followed their king. We are going to move on to chapter 3.